Today I'm talking about
And listening to
one of my favorite convicted felons, Francis Charteris, or, as he was better known, the Rape Master General. Born in Edinburgh sometime between 1665 and 1675, Francis was born into privilege. His family was rich and powerful, one of the elites. He enlisted in the Scottish Army at a young age, but he was drummed out.
Drummed out, eh? What does that mean?
It's a dishonorable discharge where they parade you around to a drum beat, just to humiliate you.
That's great. I love that we come up with stuff like that.
We're so creative when it comes to just humiliation.
Humiliating people.
Resolute in his goal to enlist, though, he goes to Flanders, which is in Belgium, and joins a regiment there. But again, gets discharged, apparently for stealing some meat from a butcher shop.
Hey, I'm just stealing meat here. What's the big idea? Come on.
Boy, I gotta have that meat.
Meat thief.
He's not willing to give up on his dream of being in the army, though, so he returns to Scotland and gets his father to buy him a commission into the Scottish regiment.
That's what dads are for.
But the officers refuse to enlist him. Anyways, at some point, he finds another regiment that accepts him, but
How many regiments they got?
he gets discharged again for cheating at cards.
Just can't help himself, this guy.
Eventually, he finds another regiment to take him in, and by 1711, he's made lieutenant colonel.
Whoa. Where did we jump from?
I'm assuming somebody's palms got greased. He hasn't learned anything from his experiences, though, and gets caught taking bribes and listing tradesmen. Now, I have sources saying he was either discharged for this or let off the hook, but regardless, at some point he gains the rank of colonel, is out of the army, and now we can begin the next chapter in his life.
Okay, that's just over and done with.
Also, he supposedly won the rank of colonel through a game of cards.
That doesn't surprise me when it comes to him. Just scamming his way to the top. That's the name of the game.
Now, over time, he's going to prosper through cards. Not just by winning through games, which he often did through cheating. He infamously cheated a duchess out of thousands by seating her in front of a mirror.
And she didn't notice this.
No, she was pissed. But he was also a loan shark.
Okay, so he's dabbling in all the dirty arts.
And blackmail.
And blackmail. No, I mean, nothing is too low for this guy.
Oh, he's gonna get real low. You're gonna see.
Down and dirty.
In 1727, he runs for parliament, spending a hefty sum bribing people, but he loses.
Okay.
The reason for his loss is suspected to be because of his womanizing ways. Although he married in 1702 and had a daughter, he did not live with his wife, but instead kept a harem of women. He often disguised them as live-in maids or servants.
Here, where are these disguises, guys? Come on, you're a maid, here's a duster, okay.
But he also didn't live with his family because he raped a woman at gunpoint and had to flee Scotland altogether.
And they knew about this.
Oh, yeah. So he set up his new home in London. But his reputation in London was deteriorating fast.
Okay.
Because Francis felt consent was unimportant.
Yeah, I could see him thinking that way.
Now, Francis got away with quite a bit, because even when he was reported and convicted of rape, he would use his wealth to buy a pardon.
As one normally does.
This led Francis to receive the nickname of Rape Master General.
Yo, it's all right, Master General!
Which he...
Great
Rape Master General in here to say. He genuinely liked this title. He bragged he had slept with around 300 women.
Slept with. That's kind of a loose term.
It's a very loose term in this sense. He was so outspoken and proud of his actions that one newspaper at the time said he brags that he will obtain a patent for ravishing whomever he pleases.
Who is he bragging to about this? Like, what guy at the bar is, like, super impressed by this?
Imagine being at the patent office and seeing that come onto your desk.
I never get consent, and I don't like it that way.
He had a penchant for tall peasant girls and would go to great lengths to lure them in. Now, by this time, Francis's name was synonymous with rapist, so he had to employ a man named Trusty Jack Gourley to approach young girls for him.
Now, is this some guy who was known for being trustworthy, or...?
He definitely just came across a guy, like, on the gutter and was like, hey, I know you, you're Trusty Jack.
Branded him with that nickname.
Trusty Jack would scout for girls, new to the city who were looking for work, and would steer them towards Francis's house.
I guess he wasn't so trusty after all.
Francis would then proceed to rape these poor girls, and if they would not willingly remain his sex slave, or if he just didn't want seconds, he would throw them out on the street.
Sweet of
So
him.
here begins this cycle of hire a girl, rape them, kick them out, get Trusty Jack to send in a new one, and rinse and repeat.
Just a normal week.
It's a normal week for Trusty Jack.
Yeah.
Better get a new one. Oh my god.
Go out back and find me a new rapey.
I think Trusty Jack might be like the real villain here. Like, how do you live with yourself?
Dirty scoundrels, man.
He also had some women on the payroll who would prowl inns and find new victims for him as well.
Pretty fucking well. It's
Yeah.
pretty messed up.
Equal opportunity employer.
Yeah.
At a certain point, Francis had become so infamous, his name so tarnished, that he had to start using an alias. So he began... Can you imagine getting to that point? So he began to call himself Colonel Harvey.
Colonel Harvey Weinstein, as he was known.
Finally, in 1729, in comes our protagonist, the woman to save this goddamn story, Anne Bond.
Unbombed.
She was a good Christian girl, looking for work, and was hired as a maid by Colonel Harvey.
Okay.
Now, he immediately tries his usual sexual advances, but she's having none of it. She unfortunately stays and does her job. She doesn't quit.
She doesn't know any better.
She doesn't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah.
But Francis continually keeps coming on to her, sometimes even offering her money for sex.
Doesn't quite scratch the same itch, though, if you're paying for it.
Well, you're not breaking the same law.
Yeah, I mean, you're paying. That's just prostitution at that point. Come on. Consent, man. Don't lie.
Anyways, time passes, and one day Anne overhears a conversation between Colonel Harvey and someone else. Now, Anne overhears the other person refer to him as Colonel Charteris. So suddenly Anne starts putting all the pieces together. She knows all about the Rape Master General. So she files her resignation.
How
But
horrifying.
Francis does not take this well,
Okay.
as you would expect. Francis proceeds to lock her in her room.
Oh my god.
Now, another account says he offered the other servants to keep her from leaving, which I think is way worse.
It's terrible.
More time passes, she's still being held captive, and she's having to do all her regular duties.
That's even worse. She has to work, too.
When she's preparing the colonel's fire, he comes on to her one last time.
Give it the old college try.
Anne again refuses, and Francis goes berserk. He violently throws her onto the couch and proceeds to rape her. He takes his nightcap, or her cap, sources differ, and shoves it into her mouth to muffle the screams.
Oh my god.
After the assault is over, Anne says she's going to the police. Now the colonel just laughs and mocks her, accuses her of being a thief, and says she's fired. He has the other servants strip her, whip her, and then throw her out on the street, leaving her with no possessions.
You stupid bitch. You think you
Fucking
can
servants.
fucking come after me? I'm Rape Master General, ho.
Don't you know who I am?
Come on. I got a gold chain that says so.
But Anne followed through on her words, and with the help of her friend Mary Parsons, who took her in, brought forth an official complaint of assault with intent to commit rape.
Not full-on rape.
It's an important note. We're going to get back to why she didn't just say rape.
Okay.
Francis was indicted. The grand jury over the case upgraded the charge to rape because people had been looking to take Francis down for years.
Yeah, everyone knows him as this giant rapist. I mean, nobody can dispute that at this
Everyone
point.
knows Rape Master General. And at the time, rape carried the death penalty.
As it fucking should.
During the trial, Francis's defense revolved around sullying Anne's character. They claimed she was a thief and a liar, and even going so far as to forge letters that showed Anne's dishonesty. But when those forgeries were exposed, Francis's case collapsed, and the verdict was clear. In 1730, he was found guilty of rape and sentenced to death.
Good. One good thing.
One good thing, and this probably only happened now because he's at the peak of his raping. Like,
Everybody knows.
everybody knows this guy, and
Everyone's been raped by him.
there's no way to get out of this.
Yeah.
Or is there?
Oh, no.
In about 6 weeks, Francis was released from prison. Francis had spent a small fortune bribing the right people to turn justice in his favor. He got many notable people to sign a petition for his release, one of the most surprising being Anne Bond herself.
Ho, what?
It is suspected that Anne possibly felt guilty and didn't want him to die. Hence the initial charge of attempt to rape. She's a good Christian girl. Maybe she didn't want to push it that
A
far.
little hesitant, huh? It's a little believable. I can buy
It's
that.
a little believable, but it's very possible that Francis was actually able to bribe her, giving her enough money to get married. And the evidence for that is because months later, Anne's husband was arrested for debt,
Oh no.
which would mean that Francis backed out of his payment as a form of revenge.
One last little fuck you,
One last
bitch.
laugh, and it
I
sounds-
have the power.
And that's just the type of guy he is.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
God, he took every opportunity he could get to just screw someone one last time, make him feel dirty and used.
Rape someone one last time.
Yeah, a metaphorical rape.
Now a free man, Francis was largely hated by everyone. The poor were dismayed that the rich could basically live above the law, and the
they should.
rich didn't like someone of their status being such a spectacle.
Typical.
So essentially run out of town, Francis returns to Scotland, where shortly after he dies from an illness he most likely contracted in prison. He was so hated that at his funeral, crowds gathered to stop the priest from delivering blessings. They shouted, threw dead cats, and even tried to break into the coffin and mutilate his corpse.
Where's the dead cat pile coming from?
It's
People just hand it out at the
every
fucking-
town in Scotland has a dead
There's
cat
like a
pile.
concession stand for dead cats. Throw them at the people you hate.
No cob kolosh, only dead cat. They wanted to ensure that the rape master general would go to hell.
Well, let us certainly hope
And
so.
the end. Hopefully he did.
I hope he is burning with all the dead cats now. That's what the rapist gets. That's one of the circles of hell. You just get dead cats thrown at you.
That's the second most insane story from Scotland that I got for you. I'm sure there's many, many more.
Man, those crazy Scots, man. They never surprise me. Some crazy shit going on over
Took a
there.
long time to get this recording out, but I thank everyone for listening, if you've listened this long. Okay,
Y'all have a good night.
good night.